Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Pickpocket from CZT Tomas Padros. All right, so today is the third Tuesday of the month at the time of this recording. And that means it is Tough Tangle Tuesday. We had a lot of fun with this Tangle Pickpocket. And so I'm gonna have some more fun with it right now. So starts off with a dot grid. I don't know. We'll see if I can fit 5 in here because it's helpful. I think. Oh, I think I can. Well, that won't be even, but it'll be close, and that's okay. Now I'm using a graphic 1. If you have a thicker nibbed pen like this, or say the 10 or the 12. It's nice because I'm just pressing down and making my dot that way. And you can always go back if you want to thicken it and do that. And see, so this is how I do my grids to hopefully have them come out somewhat even. See, then I just try to see the box when I'm finishing it. It's close. And in Zentangle, close will get you the cigar. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. All right. Okay, good. It didn't turn out too bad. Okay. A little not so even, but, that's all right. So, there are a couple of tricks with this. It's a lot of fun. And actually, in reading, as I was scouring through Thomas's Instagram page, and that link I'll have a link to the step out, which takes you to Thomas's Instagram page, and then you can scroll around and look through all of his gorgeous work and other amazing tangles. I didn't realize until reading that he said that this is essentially a tangulation of his Tangle Meshmerize, and we did that one last year. If you search my channel, you'll find a quickie video on that. So once you have your dot grid, now this is somewhat similar, and I think in the Meshmerize, Thomas said that he was playing around with, it was either Huggins or W2, probably Huggins. But either one of those tangles, there are similar strokes. So what we're going to do first is, and we're working on diagonals, and so I'm going to work on it this way, and I'm thinking in columns, okay, and I'm thinking the first 2 columns of dots. And what we're going to do is, and I'm moving my tile so that way hopefully you can see the pen tip. So this column, and what we want to do is I'm going underneath, let me just do it part way, so you can see it's underneath that dot, right, on the bottom side of it. And I'm drawing that line, and I'm doing a straight line. If I don't get a chance to update my step out, the first lines are a little curved, so you can curve them. We found that, you can have a lot of fun with this tangle by changing some of the things, but ignore the curve line. I'm going to try to update it, but if I don't have time before I get this posted, if they're curved, just ignore that and make them straight lines in your mind. So this first 2 we're going under, then the next diagonal we're going to go over, and because my dots are so small, I'm turning my tile so that way I can see the dot and my pen at the same time. So this one is going to go on the top, and don't worry if as you can see, it's not even. So bottom, top, and then from then on, let's see, I don't think I have this much trouble. It's just because I'm working so small, and I want you to be able to see. I think I can get it. So bottom, top, then we continue in that fashion. This will be bottom, this one will be top, and if they don't meet up, that's okay. Now I want to share one quick thing with you before I continue, because we're going to skip a column, we're going to repeat it. One of the things that some found is they thought that maybe doing triangles at the beginning, because these are going to end up to be triangles, might be a little easier, and I'll remember to share that at the end. But if you kind of get frustrated with this, know that there might be an alternate way to do this, and we'll share that later. So so as you see, we tied these two columns of dots. This is gonna stay empty for now, and we're gonna do the same thing in this column. So I'm going on the bottom side, then the top side, bottom. This is what when I'm doing Huggins or the W2, those weave type programs. That's what goes through my head. Is like, okay, or I'll say over under is usually what I say. Okay, so there we have it. Now, in these empty columns, we're going to do diagonals the other direction. Now, similarly to when we do any of those weave patterns, we're not going to cross a line. So I share that because as a tool to, if you're trying to, like, say, memorize this, commit it to memory so that way you can do the tangle without having to look back at the step outs. We're not going to cross. We're not going to do the bottom here. We're going to do the top. So that way it's just all clean like that. And then the same thing, we're going to alternate. So this one was on the top, so then this one is going to be on the bottom. And then the top. And then the bottom. I think it was Rick Roberts had said that once, and maybe it was on one of their on one of Zentangle videos where, and it was Huggins or W2, but he mentioned that, that we don't cross a line. I'm like, oh, that helps, because I would always, I get going the one way, and then going the other way would always be a challenge, and that really helped. So that way I didn't have to always go back and find the instructions. And then the same thing here. So this one was on the top. This one is going to be on the top. Bottom, and then top, and then bottom. And like I said, if it doesn't match up, it's okay. We're going to be filling those in with something in a little bit. All right. Next, we're going to draw some straight lines down, and this is where I did have a challenge trying to explain where. But we'll just suffice it to say that you did your tangle just like this. And so between these two dots right here, I'm gonna just start a line, and I'm gonna stop at the first line I come to. Then I'm gonna skip this section, and then I'm gonna continue that line here, skip, and continue. You know what? And let's skip this one right here. Because sometimes I like to do, the same strokes, same everything, all at once, and then go do the next. So skipping this column, and here, so same as this, putting that line down at the top, and continuing it down like so. Now, and the ones we've left blank, we're going to do them the opposite way. So not here, but here. So trying to find the center there, and just drawing a straight line and continuing it, skipping, and then here as well. Not there. No. Almost did it. Okay. So let me go backwards and explain. And again, for the same purpose, so that way, maybe it will help, so that we don't have to always be looking at the step outs and have it more ingrained. So that way, then and also you can have a lot more fun with it. So when we did these straight lines, we did them. Oh gosh, I still have trouble figuring. We'll see the shape that has been created, where we have this going on, where these two lines are close to each other. It creates this path, right? It creates this shape as part of the weave. This line is going underneath those. So we're not drawing this line where these diagonals are close together. That probably makes no sense whatsoever. But so if that doesn't make any sense, just like, okay, no, I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go the alternate, and then just try not to think about it. I think that's sometimes the hardest part about tangling. For teaching tangles is like, okay, how can I say something so it makes sense? But saying it coupled with looking at it, hopefully it helps. And seeing after the fact, you can see, oh, okay, this is the narrow, okay, and that it creates these neat little, Z's or N's, kind of alternating shapes. It would be Z's this way, going backwards and forwards. But it is a neat tangle. All right, last-ish step. And this is the part where I was mentioning the triangles. So we're going to turn all of these dots into triangles. And what I found was helpful is, I'm going to start on the upper left, and this line right here is one part of that triangle. I am going to make this line come up, finish it off, and then fill it in. Now the thing with the triangles are they have to be pointing in opposite directions. So if you get the first one, and then it's just alternating, similarly to here where it was like, oh, we'll do this line under and then over, under, over. As I mentioned at the beginning, some found, after we kind of got through it, it's like, I think it'd be easier to just do the triangles. So if you want to do that and make a grid of triangles, sure, go right ahead. Just make sure that, so like this one, it's pointing to the left. This next one, and this has nothing that I can, no foundation for me to use, like this has the lines. This is going to point to the right. This one, I'm using this as, that first as one side of the triangle, and then I'm going to come up and extend that part there. So as long as you can get them like that, because they are part of the tangle, they create the illusion, and if you can do that, then great. And then I seem to focus on, like, which side. Okay, the back side is going to be over here on this one. So it just depends on where the dot is located. The ones on the outer edge seem to be harder for me, but it's like just focusing on. It's like, okay, I have this one pointing to the left, so then this one's going to point to the right, which means that this is going to have the straight line here. Like I said, and I'm just extending those lines because you want it to be part of this line. And again, that's where I think that's the only challenge I see of doing them first, is that you really want to have them incorporated as part of the line. But you could do that after the fact for sure. And this one is going to be here. And two, when you get it all done, you can always go back and course correct, meaning, make this one a little bigger, or this, you can adjust them, because you can always stretch things out and neaten things up when we are using the fill in. Okay, so then this, this almost seemed like it was the hardest part of the tangle. Yeah, because it's like, well, and this being under, yeah, because one line you're coming straight down. This one I'm kind of extending because I want that to be part of, like that. So hopefully just watching helps. It's so funny because, and Thomas, if you ever watch this, we love your tangles. Sometimes they're just a little bit tricky, but we like to have fun. And as somebody mentioned, it was like, I love a challenge. Yes, me too. And it's neat to be able to at least have some understanding. It's like, okay, yeah, nope, got it. Because these are fun. And I think this one, there aren't a lot of steps. And because it's so similar to some of the others, you could commit it to memory where you don't feel like you're always having to study the step out. And what's neat about it is, just from having the little dots, it really starts to take shape when we get those triangles in. And it's also nice to have, well, I think it depends on probably your personality style or things that you like to do. It's like, I like a challenge. I like puzzles. I do like the challenge. And so I think it's fun to be able to create tangles like this where people go, whoa, how did you do that? And we know, well, I just followed the steps. And let's see. And like I said, sometimes it just depends on where it's located, on which aspect of the triangle that I focus in. It seems almost like I'm more focused on where the long side's going to be first. And that is seeming to help me. Like I said, these lone ones out here, you just have to do your best. There we go. Okay. And, and I'm trying to think on Thomas's, it seemed like the next step that he has is, kind of an option. So if you want to decorate it, you could decorate it however you want. And I'll show you some of the samples I have, but I do want to show how he finished it off with the aura-ing, because that too, takes some concentration. So if you notice, and I'm just going to point out this one Z or an N shape, whichever way you want to think about it. I'm seeing it somewhat sideways from my angle, but let's go, it's an N shape. And you see how, if you were to imagine where the ends of this would be, they're tucked under, they're tucked into this pocket, right? So if we're going to aura it, we're not going to aura what's under, we're not going to aura this line because this is tucked under here. This also helps with the illusion. And I share that just so that way, if you can picture that, it will help with when you're with the aura-ing. There we go. So I got one. I have one. So I think you get it. And also, do the inside ones like this that has a complete. We'll call this. This would be like the fragment, for lack of a better way to say it. So this is the fragment. So here's another one. I mean, this is flipped to this, but you can still see it. So do the complete ones first. And go slow. And then when you get to the non-complete, well, let's do this one first. This is the last. This is the last full one. And of course, I'm turning my towel so that way it's comfortable for my hand, and also to see I am not flipping it every single time that I would normally, just because I don't want to make you or me dizzy. Okay, so there we go. Those are all of the solid ones. So then, actually, I might as well. Okay, well, let's just start at the top. And if you need to look, let's see. This one we don't have a real good example. Let's see. It's going to look like this one. So we're just going in. That's the one part. And then this line here. And what did I say? This one is good. Because you can kind of go diagonal too, so you can see. And then this guy, this little triangle that's hanging out there all by itself, as you can see here, we're aura-ing it on the two sides, because that's just a partial. All right, so then, apparently I'm going down this column. So sometimes I end up doing these a bit out of an order that, okay, that doesn't make much sense. But, and I'm like, look at that diagonal. Didn't do so good. And then here. Right? Yeah, so I'm kind of focusing on here. That would go there. And then it would be here. All right, and then what did we decide on this one? Oh, this looks like that. And it depends on if I want to continue that outside or not. I don't know. Okay, let's finish up this last bit. Okay, so this end is right here. There's a nice thing about it repeating. So then you can just see where you need to go. Whoops, that's a bit close. And in there. I'm putting my finger. Okay, this is the one that I want to look to for the example, and then that just goes out like that. Okay, got that all side done. All right, this, or did I? Oop, that's the center. I missed this one right here, or didn't I? Did I or didn't I? Well, I've already got it started, so we'll just put it there. And then this one will be for that side. Okay. And sometimes that's just what you have to do. And this is here. Okay, I'm turning this so that way it's easier, I think, for you to see. And I'll get myself all discombobulated. All right, very good. Okay, let's start from the bottom. Okay. Oh, and actually, that needed to be ordered as well. It's the same as this. And like I said, work however is best for you. I'm trying to do, I'm ending up apparently just doing these columns. Some of mine are a little bit thinner areas than others because I'm like going, wow, that's not a lot of space there, but oh well. It is what it is, and it's all fine. You kind of after a while, you're just it all becomes easier to just see and not think so hard about. It does. As I say that, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Oh yeah, because then that would be coming up, and that would be coming up like that. Oops, and this is gonna have. There we go. Yeah, and those lines that that we drew straight down, they will all have like it's going to be aura on both sides. So that's there's some checks like that you could use to decide if you've got everything or if you missed something. I think I got everything. All right, and then I usually find out when I go and shade. So just doing some shading on this, those initial lines that we did, and if you can remember, well, actually, where I have things kind of tucking up and under, like this, I'm just going to put some, I'm putting graphite on both sides. And I'm just going to do the one side. Actually, I don't normally do this, but I'm doing it now. I normally would flip the tile, but I think it'll be okay. All right. Then, just bringing the graphite out a little bit, I will flip the tile for this part. And I'm doing just more of a back and forth motion for now. Well, back with maybe a little bit of a circular, little bit. And I'm turning so that way I can not be reaching the tortillon over where I don't want the graphite to go. I like to put it only where I want the graphite to go. And you can see now how we've created the, this being, I guess, the pocket where those two ends are fitting in. And now we'll do the other direction. just do all the one side at a time. So again, just on those diagonals. There they are. But you can add tangles inside them. You can, fill them in. You can have a lot of fun. And you don't have to do that aura-ing. If you don't want to do that aura-ing, you just do the shading just like we just did. You could just put tangles in, make it a big reticula, and just add tangles into those areas, and don't worry about it. It'll still look amazing because the shading really adds to that, to the weaviness of it, the tucking in and out of it. Just really, really neat, super neat. So I mentioned, share some samples. This was the last session, so it's not completely done. Did this on a tan tile, and you did some good R&D from earlier. Let's rip off and duplicate. Sandy did this. Sandy, the Irish Tangler, did put the white on the outside of her lines, and it looks so neat, so I had to do it. And then this one from earlier, I decided to put some print humps in, and I just did one because a lot of it was because this is a somewhat demonstration, and I wanted everyone to see and just really be able to focus on that shape that we're creating, so that way it makes it a little bit easier to see. So that's why I did different colors on this one, so that way you could see that shape. And just really, really neat, super neat. Thomas is so super creative. Just I love all of his work. So check him out. That's the For More Inspiration link, as I mentioned, in the description section. And yeah, lots of fun. And I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to, I would love it if you click the like button. Feel free to leave comments. Tell me how bad that your brain hurts after this. If it helped, I would love to know that warms my heart to know if this helped. To be able to do this tangle with more ease. And if you liked it enough to see more, would love to have you be a subscriber to the channel. That way, you could get notices of when I post new content, which is every day. If you don't like getting emails or having your phone blow up, just make sure to click the notification bell and set the notifications to how you want them. I usually turn them all off, and then when I go to YouTube, I see who has new content. So because it usually, if you go to YouTube and then find where your subscribers are, and then those that have new content are usually at the top. It has like a little dot by their picture or something. So I find that easier. I share that just so that you know that you can have control over if they're sending you emails and stuff. I mentioned the description section where you will find the links to the step outs. Below those, ways to connect with me, I have a link to my website where you will find the classes. So if you would like to attend Tough Tangle Tuesday, that one is just a once a month. It is free. I don't guarantee that it won't always, sometimes they're not as hard. Sometimes it does, it hurts your brain, makes you cross-eyed for a little bit. But everybody has fun. We always have fun with these. And then I have ones on Thursday that are they're not supposed to be tough, but we have a lot of fun in the same manner, just exploring these tangles. So that you'll find that under the classes link in the big menu. Feel free to subscribe to my blog there, where I do a daily tangle, and starting in last October, I started posting. I think it was October. It might have been actually November, because we continued on, and I kind of titled each of the months some kind of thematic, and some it's just the daily tangle, but I'm putting it out that way. So if you'd like to receive those, would love to have you do that. Also, when I do the recaps for these classes, I send them out that way as well. So I'd love to have you join me there. And then lastly, if you happen to be on Facebook, we do have a Facebook community. So if you would like to join us there, us meaning fellow Tangle addicts, we all decided that you just can't have too many friends that tangle. So come and join us there. I will warn you, I do have there's some membership questions, when you go on, that are required for entry. And with that, I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling. Have fun with it.